everybody.
Welcome to the December episode of Hugs Through Shrugs.
I'm Mary.
I'm Kathy.
And this month was really exciting for us. We have a lot of things to share. And this actually might be the first podcast a lot of people are watching because we have two things going on this week.
Right.
What is today's date? It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So the first week of December, I believe it's December 1st on Tuesday.
Right.
We have an interview with Morris Sussex Sports. And hopefully we'll get a lot of moms who are watching. It's a live interview on Facebook. And hopefully a lot of moms will want to learn how to Tunisian crochet and help us with some shrugs.
Join our community.
Yep. And that's local to us too. So it's real easy for when in-person things start happening again for people to join us in person.
Right.
And the real stressful event for us that's coming up.
December 4th.
5th. That's
December 5th.
Oh, December 5th at 4 o'clock,
Yes.
which is Saturday. That is our time slot for the Kristy Glass Knit and Escape virtual event.
Which we are so excited about because it's going to give us the opportunity for us to show you our new yarn line.
And that was a big push for us. We had hoped last year after New Jersey Sheep and Wool with the success we had selling our cakes, which I don't know if you could see them on the top there, but we'll show you more later. We had so much fun making those cakes and meeting people who want to buy the hand-dyed yarns that we thought it would be fun to make some yarns in smaller weights. This is our cake from last year.
With the baby picture.
Oh, yes, of course, all of our yarns,
Our
including
signature
these.
heart.
That's our signature heart. Love in every dye pan and prayers for sales to fund our mission. But we'll get into these yarns later. But when the pandemic hit, we decided, well, there's not much point in pushing ourselves trying to get all this yarn created for New Jersey Sheep and Wool. We still don't know when in-person events are going to happen. And it wasn't until 2 months ago that Kristy Glass, when her in-person event canceled, that was supposed to be at the beginning of November, she and Eve Ashworth announced that they were going to try a virtual event. And they said it was going to be December 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which is this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we signed up again. So we will be vending at her in-person event, which is rescheduled for next November. But we are trying our first virtual marketplace.
Right.
Saturday, 4 o'clock is our time slot. If you're curious about this event, it's knitandescape.com. And there's a schedule. It's a small entrance fee. It might be $10. And for 3 days, you have access to the different Zoom things they're going to have going on. They do have a charity knit night thing on Friday night. There's a lot of classes, a lot of free lectures, and the marketplace itself. So we've never done that. It's a Zoom. We've done Zooms.
Right.
And hopefully people will stop into our virtual booth.
Yep.
And we will be presenting some of these yarns there too.
Right, which is hand-painted unique skeins. Each of these skeins is a uniquely hand-painted dyed yarn. And they're different weights. And we're going to talk about a pattern that we are offering to be done in all of these.
So we'll get into all that later. But I should backpedal because it's so hard for us to get rolling with these podcasts. Then we get rolling and it's like, well, the first thing we were supposed to really mention is we just shipped our 1,000th shrug. So in 4 years, we have shipped shrugs to 1,000 moms. And we have done that through different distribution points. We started with Ronald McDonald Houses exclusively, which if you watched our story video, that's where I approached the first people to see if they wanted our donations. And from Ronald McDonald House, then we had opportunities present themselves to us through children's hospitals.
Right.
We currently serve 8 children's hospitals. We have a very good relationship with those 8 hospitals and the Child Life people who we ship these to. But this year we've also started reaching moms directly through a lot of smaller charities. So if you don't live close by and you're stumbling across this podcast through Kristy Glass or just from YouTube, if you don't live in our state, you could still support moms. Our mission is finding the moms.
Right.
And Momcology, who we partnered with 2 months ago, they are nationwide. So when we shipped our first stack of shrugs, the women who run that organization, they're all moms, and their kids have had cancer when they were younger, and they're very passionate about what they do. And they said we had a virtual retreat for moms whose lives have been affected by pediatric cancer. Some have lost their children, some are still battling for their children, but the virtual retreat was an opportunity for them to get together and provide peer support. And they gave us the home addresses of these moms, and all 12 shrugs for that first retreat went to different states.
Right.
So we had Texas, we had California, we had Georgia, we had Pennsylvania, we had one in New Jersey, a mom who's half an hour from us. So they trusted us with these addresses, and we directly ship to those homes. And ideally, that's what we want to do. It's not that we don't like supporting Ronald McDonald houses or hospitals. Our goal is to get to the moms, and whoever is willing to help us get there is
we're open.
We partner up.
to partner up.
Yeah, well, whatever we have to do. So we dedicate a lot of our time to creating these distribution paths. And
sometimes we just get individual requests for shrugs for a family member, who's sending another family member a shrug. We do that too.
Sure. And at the same time, I spend a lot of time on Facebook finding moms. Because again, like we said in our story, a lot of these families start Facebook groups to keep their family informed on the day-to-day progress of their child's journey with cancer. Typically, I follow a lot of the pediatric cancer groups. And sometimes they'll be collecting cards for their child or whatever, and there might be a home address. And when I really connect with these moms, because you start to feel like they're your friends. You begin to feel like you know them. One mom in particular, her son passed away last October, and his birthday was last week. I think it was on Wednesday. And the little boy was 3 when he passed away. His birthday last week, he would have turned 4. And he died in October. A few weeks later is his birthday. And his mom just did a simple post. So, I'm missing you, buddy. I wish I could hear your laugh. I saw that on Facebook and just started scrolling back a little bit and saw that this little boy's favorite color was green. So, like we do, went to our yarn stash, and I'm using Tunisian crochet, which we'll cover later. I'm making a shrug in green to send to this mom's home, just to let her know, we remember that her child was here. People remember. Right. They don't just disappear. These moms, they're never going to forget their children. So,
and she's not alone, and there's people out there who care, and we're praying for her.
And we remember, that this happened. So their children just don't get swept under the carpet. So we'll be shipping that. So we do find a lot of individuals that we ship to. And how do we distribute to hospitals? Well, we started with tote bags, because at the time, this is another change in 2020. 2020 has been really good for us in many ways, because we have fine-tuned what we do.
Right.
And this is going to make it easier for Child Life in many ways, but we are now shipping not in the tote bags like we used to. We are now shipping to hospitals in a package like this, with the care package items included in the back. And this will allow Child Life to go into the room when they introduce themselves to the mom with a basket with a few shrugs in it, and the moms can choose which colors make them smile. So when we have volunteers who go to Michael's or the big box stores or dip into their stash and they creatively piece together yarns, fabulous.
Yeah.
A mom is going to say, oh, those are my colors.
Right.
And you'll make her smile for a minute. And we still include care package toiletries and stuff in the back. So that's the new way we're going to be shipping starting in January 2021. It's easier for them to store them. They'll be stacked on a shelf so they won't forget about them. And like I said, it does keep them clean. So the Child Life people we've approached with this idea really are excited about this.
Yeah, it was a good change. And also they will be in charge of, we're sending the bears and the pillowcases.
Yes. So if you don't knit or crochet and you heard about us through Morris Sussex interview, which is coming up, if you don't knit or crochet, you can still support the moms. We have 3 different donation options. We will ship directly to the home address of a mom you know, and the $50 covers the shrug and the shipping. If you'd like to have a gift for a child from you, this is something we started a couple months ago. A woman named Debbie Trainer donated a bunch of these books to us, and we're going to continue working with Debbie because a few of the hospitals that we ship to really enjoy this for the children. It goes perfectly with our little bears that we ship. And knitters make the little capes.
Yeah, and it's the little bear buddy.
So if you don't want to do a shrug, you'd like to do something small, you can knit little capes for the bears. They're included in this package. We have talked about this gift before, but it comes with a little message that says, "I am your Stay Strong Bear Buddy. My cape carries courage to you from a caring community. I'll stay by your side and help you remember that you are brave and you are the superhero." So a $15 donation, it says for your child, the book and the bear, and the card that's included with this will have your name on it, so your donation will be recognized. And if you would like to support a teenager for your teen, same concept with the card. These are pillowcases that some of our volunteers make. And it's a little bit big, little pillowcase to brighten up the child's, the teenager's hospital bed with "You got this." So every time they get up and down to go for their treatments, it's a little positive reinforcement that they can get through this. So $15 donation to support a child or a teen if you don't knit or crochet. So that's that. We move these. Oh, we should mention a wonderful local woman donated not only a beautiful bag of perfect shrugs to us. Her name is Cynthia. She also donated this bag of capes. So we have
a lot of
capes. So a lot of children are going to get those bears.
Which is awesome.
So we're very excited to be adding those to our shipments. So let's see, we covered this.
And we couldn't do any of this without the help of our volunteers.
1,000 shrugs in 4 years. This really came from our core group of knitters who are local to us. And they are Andrea, Anne, Carol, Fran, Lenore, Linda, Leslie, Molly, Nancy, Terry, and Tish. Yeah. These ladies have done hundreds of these shrugs, hundreds. And, we get shipments sent to us. People will ship and deliver, and more volunteers are coming from outside of our area. But thank you, ladies, so much.
They're our core.
They are our core group. And reflecting back, I need to go even before I met these ladies. Andrea was the first one to find us on Meetup, and then she brought Carol, and they brought Tish, and then they had Anne. And I mean, this just trickled out how our group grew. But the first time I went to the Martinsville Community Center, it was me, and then a woman named Anya showed up. And Anya and I sat, just the two of us, many meetings making the shrugs. I taught her Tunisian crochet, and we sat, just the two of us, frequently. And Anya has moved back to Germany, but she's a big part of this. If she didn't show up at the community center, how many times was I going to go and sit there by myself? I don't know. But we might not be here if Anya did not show up and sit with me. And even before I met Anya, when I was doing Ronald McDonald Houses and reaching out through Facebook to find a little help, well, if I start a Facebook group, I'll find some volunteers. And thinking local people would join me, it turns out my first volunteer was from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that was Linda Penninger. And thanks to my connection with Linda, she reaches out from Grand Rapids and, well, all right, let's try. We'll add your Ronald McDonald House. That connection was in place when a mom I was following from Sloan Kettering, Krista, and I will insert the picture of Krista in Wes when I edit later. it is in our story, but it's real important because we had a tote and a shrug waiting for Krista when she got to the Ronald McDonald House because Linda made this connection for us. And it really mattered to Krista. And Krista actually took the time to put a post on Facebook thanking us. And that boosted my, you can do this. It does matter. It does matter. So I kept going. And then a woman, Carol Balikian from Denver, Colorado, reached out. Oh, I would love to do this for my Ronald McDonald House. And Carol got her local Longmont knitters and crocheters involved. I believe it's a senior community. And they got us like 80 shrugs for that Ronald McDonald House.
Right.
And because of that connection with that Denver house, we stumbled upon a woman who does a lot with shrugs. She calls them blanket sweaters. And Jessica is a blogger for Lion Brand. And I reached out and said, we do something very similar. Your photographs are beautiful. Would we are shipping to Denver and you're local. Would you mind telling people what we do? And she did. She put us in her blog and she allows us to use her pictures on our Facebook page. So the very best photos of someone in a shrug, that's Jessica. And thank you, Jessica, because
Yes.
When you're attempting to do something and you think it's a good idea, but you don't know if it is, every single person who says yes or I'll help you,
Right.
it matters. And a big thank you to Kristy Glass. She interviewed us a couple months ago, and that made a difference. I mean, we did a lot of fundraising.
Huge. People saw the interview and they went to our website and they purchased a ton of our yarns.
Yeah.
So it was huge for fundraising for us because that all helps. The shipping's very expensive, and we try to keep our knitters stocked with yarns so that they can keep helping us. And we can. The more that we raise, the more we can make, the more moms we can reach.
Yeah, and it's the big voices. We've been trying to get Facebook followers and Instagram followers, but one mention on Kristy Glass's YouTube channel and the numbers start going up and volunteers notice. And then we have Gay Glassby, who's Gigi made it, Gigi Knits, and Gigi's mentioned us on her podcast, and Mary Beth and Helen, Toad Hollow, they've mentioned us, and Christina from Chelsea Yarns in Red Bank, she has mentioned us too. So all of these people have helped us get to 1,000 shrugs. So A, last week was Thanksgiving. B, 1,000 shrugs, just the 1,000 just got shipped. And we really have a lot to be thankful for. So there's
and a lot of people to thank.
So many people to thank. And many, many others. People who've donated money and just have gotten us to this point.
Right.
So that covers our very grateful thank yous. What else?
We wanted to talk about our yarns. So we want to introduce the collection.
Debut our yarns.
Which is going to be huge for us. And Mare has been working nonstop. Should we start from this side over?
Sure. So what we have here are 5 weights that we hand dye. Each skein is actually, each hank, I guess you would say, is 2 skeins that we dye in the dye pan together and then hand twist to form one nice giant hank, except these cakes that are from last year. These are 4 strands in this cake, 4 different yarns combined together. So starting on the far end, we have the Fuzzy Hug. Fuzzy Hug is done on a size 10 knitting needle. Each skein contains the dye pan photo, what it looked like in the dye pan. So early stage of the dye pan, this is what this looked like. And then each one has a heart, as you can see. And then we blend the colors. We dilute some of the dyes, blend, make sure it goes all the way through to the bottom of the pan. And it's a slow process, but it's an intentional process. And there's a lot of praying that goes on when I am dyeing these, hoping for financial support and that people will like these.
Right. You want people to like it. And these colors wind up being so much richer than when they first start. So
if this is if this is your first time watching our podcast, we have to say every penny from these sales funds our mission.
Right.
So
It's a total nonprofit.
this is our fundraiser, selling these yarns and our Shrug Club yarns, which are our acrylic yarns that are perfect for donating. So they all come with the die pan photo, and they all come with a Shrug Hug pattern. Today, Kath and I are both wearing Shrug Hug samples.
And I'm wearing the fuzzy hug.
Yes, Kath is wearing Fuzzy Hug, and you could see this. I guess I should read what the yarns are. The Fuzzy Hug contains 2 hanks. One of the yarns is 437 yards of fingering, superwash, 90% merino, 10% nylon. The other hank included in this is 459 yards of lace weight mohair. It's 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, and we recommend this on a 10 needle. And the pattern is simple. It's what we say is this is a collection of skeins, hand painted skeins with purpose. Each one as unique as every mother's journey.
Right.
So no two are alike.
No.
But some are similar. And we don't put pressure on anybody to try to match. This is a mindful project that's mindless to make.
Right.
And it's basically just knitting in a circle. And you could tweak it if you want, adding some shape to it. Here's 2 different colors. I guess we should show the colors.
Love these.
2 different samples.
And then you could see that the 2 different yarns that are included in the kit. One is the mohair, and this is the slub yarn. And it really is just drapey and lovely and beautiful. And I loved knitting this.
And I have to say, too, I got this idea with the twisting 2 together from Stephen B., who I took a couple of classes virtually. Another wonderful human being. I mean, it was a Zoom, but he only allowed 25 people in the Zoom. So he was talking to all of us as we were doing the project. And I follow him on Facebook and also his newsletter. And in one of he's a very creative designer. One of his, I guess, newsletters, he had 2 yarns twisted like that. And I just thought, what a beautifully creative way to give people ideas with yarn pairings.
Yeah.
And they really make it, like you said, Kath.
It just looks so yummy.
It really does. It just looks so nice. So thank you, Stephen B. And Stephen did say, if I can ever do anything to help your charity, let me know. And he helped just by giving us that idea.
Definitely.
So that's our size 10 recommended needle size Fuzzy Hug. The next one is the Warm Hug. Oh, yeah, we do have some down here, so we don't have to keep taking them off.
Right.
The Warm Hug is recommended needle size of 11. Yeah, these are really nice, too. I just want to get close up.
And I'm going to show you the sample. I'm wearing the Fuzzy Hug, but I will show you the sample. Look how yummy that is.
In the die pan. So these are recommended on a US 11. Again, 2 hanks in here. 411 yards of fingering yarn, 90% merino, 10% Lorex. And the second yarn is 328 yards of fingering, 82% alpaca, 13 merino, 5% nylon. All of these Shrug Hugs, you're doubling the yarn. You're carrying a strand of each of the 2. And to make a Shrug Hug, you'll need 2 double skeins, and they are $50 a piece, which is a good price for 2 hand-dyed skeins that come in one of these. So to do this,
and these are close in color, and you can see some of the blue is from here and here. Mine are a little bit different. You can see I have the green then it's like a mauvey color, but yet there's still some in here. When Mare dyes, a lot of times she starts like what she dyed yesterday, she will begin the next day with those colors. So it inspires her for her next day's yarn, which inspires her for the next day's yarn. So a lot of ours flow into each other, so you can mix the yarns together.
Yeah, and because we're so small batch, I don't have lots of dye just made. I don't have the dye stock pre-made. I do take a little bit of yesterday and put it in today's work, and then today's work will carry over for the next day. And it makes your skein a little connected to somebody else's skein. So a couple
Like
people
we all
share-
connect with each other.
yeah.
And we're trying to connect with the moms and
Right.
connect you with the moms.
So this one we played around with two similar colors, but enough. You also might want to go with more of a obvious difference, which would be,
Like mine is more
and
different.
even more so, the one I'm wearing,
Yeah.
Cozy Hug. So we have Fuzzy Hug, Warm Hug, and Cozy Hug, which I'm wearing. Now you can see, let me show you, a Shrug Hug is actually like a gigantic cowl. And you could see the two different skeins. I did a little bit of decreasing on this, but it's meant to be a shawl that stays on like this. And some of them, actually any of them,
Well-
depending on how you make them.
And mine is the same as Mare's, except I threw it to the back. I could also bring it forward
Yeah.
and have it where I'm wrapping myself up in it too. So you can wear it many ways, and it's really drapey and beautiful. These yarns are amazing.
All of the Shrug Hugs, the finished circumference, and we do put this on the back of the tag, they are roughly 56 to 60 inches in circumference, which is like a shawl width and length. And they're just real cozy. So it's just like this great hug for yourself or for
some more.
a gift for someone.
This is the one Mare has on right now, so these are some of the other colors.
But if you ever, want to treat yourself to a skein of hand-dyed yarn, but you're not really sure what to do with it, this comes with the pattern.
Right.
The pattern is included, like we said, right on the label.
Since you're basically doing a circle, you could change it however you want. We started out a little wider. We did some decreases. You can make a cuff a little different. You can, add whatever you want into it. Make it as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. It's a circle. You can make it thinner with one. You could just do one skein if you wanted. But this, with the two skeins, will look very nice under a coat. You can wrap it twice around your neck. I mean, it's real, and it just makes anything look dressier and fancier and nicer. It's a great pattern, like not super thinker, so you can really enjoy just relaxing with this project.
Yeah, just if you could take it when we're allowed to go out in public again. This could be the project you're working on at midnight or on an airplane.
Right.
Something you don't have to pay attention to. Kathy, you were going to mention you had the great idea with this one because you like this one so much. You're making yourself one.
I am.
And you're going to alter. You're going to do 3 skeins.
Yes,
And
I'm doing 3 skeins of the slub and mohair, and I'm casting on about maybe 50 more stitches because I want it to be like fuller length, like a poncho. So I'm going to add the 50, do decreases about every 6 inches, and then I'm going to continue decreasing at the neck a little bit. I don't want it super tight on the top because I want this,
more shaped like
Yes.
this. But no rhyme or reason to where the decreases are, just every few inches, whatever you want.
Right.
And when you had that nice idea, we were even saying, oh, well, you can take this nice slub and mohair combo and maybe take the one size up, the warm hug, which is like an alpaca boucle in this beautiful sparkly yarn, and maybe start at the bottom with half of this.
Yeah, that's this one. Mm-hmm. And it does have the sparkle.
And again, holding the 2 strands together, but maybe do like 4 inches and then make almost like 2 big buttonholes for your hands to come through, like a poncho where you could poke your hands through, and then continue this for the main body and then go back to the other half that's left over to do more of a cowly collar and with the contrast. So that would be 3 of our skeins, but boy, would that make a really nice poncho.
It would. And I love wearing my at work, I work in a school, so like I tend to dress kind of casually, but this makes it really look nice. Like the shrugs that I make just dress up clothes that I'm getting on the floor with the kids, but this just makes it look totally
And I
beautiful.
love wearing it this way for a garment, but Saturday morning or whatever, you go sit outside by a fire pit and you have this too. So it's just flipping
when
around.
I go outside at recess, this is definitely wrapped up under my coat.
Oh gosh, you could have this around your neck.
If it's
and
windy,
it's like,
I put the hood up.
it's a hood. So I mean, the Shrug Hug is simple. It's a gigantic cowl. It's a mindful. We say it's a chance to be with your stitches, think,
Connect with your thoughts.
connect, and just take time to be grateful, because you know every penny of this purchase is funding our mission, which is supporting moms who that it's the worst journey you could be on. So we're excited with this. And in this particular one, what we try to do is a few rows of knitting and then just turn the work the other way, so it creates an edge that won't roll. I put a real big one on this one for up by the neck, so I turned the work around here. And you could do a wrap and turn. You could just turn it and start knitting the other way and just close up the little hole later.
With the tail.
No worries. No rules. It's simple. But we do give you the recommended needle and cast on for each of the different sizes to get roughly 56 to 60 inches. The finished measurements of our samples are on the back of the label. And we'll talk about the Shrug Hug yarns in more detail.
Yes.
At other times. And you can always ask us any questions.
Especially on December 5th.
Yes, if you knit and you want to join this Kristy Glass's event. So we covered fuzzy, we covered warm. This was called the Cozy Hug. And we should say what's in this one. We did not do that.
Sorry.
Nope, I started rambling. The Cozy Hug, which Kat just showed you, it's 2 skeins hand twisted together of 247 yards of DK weight, 85% merino superwash, 15% colored Donegal. There are little neps in this one. And a second skein with 273 yards of DK weight, baby alpaca, 80%, 20% acrylic. Recommended needle, 13 for this one. And on this particular Shrug Hug, I did 3 sets of decreases. But that's on the back of the pattern. So we did fuzzy, warm, cozy, great big hug.
Ooh, yep.
The great big hug is so unique that one of the yarns we used is like an air yarn, and it has a hollow core. It tends to keep, it feels amazing. It's 2 yarns that we used in here are a DK weight hollow core yarn that almost retains like a cool feel to it.
Yes.
And it's bouncy and lofty. And the second strand in this one is a lace weight, baby alpaca, cashmere, a little bit of sparkle. And you have to hold it double stranded. So you're actually working with 3 strands. The lace weight yarn, whether you wind it into 2 cakes and work from the 2 or work from the center of the cake and the outside, double your lace weight, 1 strand of the chainette. We tried several different samples with these yarns. We really it's worth it to double the lace weight. It adds such a twinkle to it. You can't really see it in the camera. But
I was trying to turn it so maybe you'll hit the light and you'll see that there's a sparkle in there.
It's like if you're on
it's really beautiful.
A beach with the sun hitting the sand just right, and it's just like all this twinkling.
You can see it in this because maybe it'll pick it up. I'm not sure.
It's not, but the 2 strands of this lace weight sparkle.
It's so pretty.
So pretty. Of course, you could single strand it if it sounds too challenging to double it. Or you could use the 2 yarns for 2 different projects. But for a Shrug Hug, we do recommend doubling that lace weight. And this is recommended needle size of 15. It just feels great. It's so cool to the touch, isn't it?
It is. It's so soft.
Oh, you know what else? This is the one, Kat, that you twisted it and it makes a real dramatic cowl.
Oh, yeah. Well, I loved all of them look really good like that. So, I mean, and again, it's still big enough, this one, that you could throw it up as a hood too if you need to, like if it's windy out or what have you. But great as a shrug, or like again, underneath your coat if you just want to wrap it across to kind of close up the hole in your jacket.
Yeah. The nice thing about
and
a shrug...
the colors are so beautiful.
Yeah, the nice thing about it... Yeah, and the Shrug Hug, like Kat said, you could have this under your coat and just like fold it over.
Yeah.
So sometimes scarves are annoying because they have, they have the ends and they could be too
long.
long.
What do you do with them?
So, I mean, these are real, you could have this on under your coat easy.
Yep.
So
and then you go in and you just keep it on.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I really do like that.
This
now,
one.
the length of them does vary on
Yes.
which weight you bought. We tried to use as much of the yarn up as we can to give you the full measurements that you can get. But if you wanted to make this narrower, don't do our recommended cast on. They are all about, close to 60 inches. If you made it narrower, you're going to get more length.
Right.
So this one, and they stretch a lot too. So I mean, when you put this on, this is again, it's going to give you this sort of a fit. But if you want to make it narrower and longer, you just adjust your cast on, or start with your big cast on and then taper this one up,
like
and it's going to give you more length.
So, and that was the
Great Big Hug US 15. And then our Mac Daddy is the Huge Hug, which if you've watched our podcast in the past, you've seen these yarns. These are very unique. They are 4 strands of hand-dyed yarn. We actually take the hanks and wind them into a gigantic, undyed,
yummy that is.
220-inch hank. And we dye it as one unit in the dye pan. They take a long time to do. Very time consuming. These are the only ones. These are $125 because one has 465 yards of 4 different yarns. So each one of those strands is 465 yards. It's over 1.5 pounds of yarn, where these are less per hank. So this is $125. Now we have 2 different samples. This one, Kath, let's show the first one. Okay. The pattern itself, and I'm sorry the tails are not woven in. We are really working all day to get all of these done in time for Kristy Glass's retreat. But if you follow our podcast, you got the early bird peak.
Yes.
The pattern to get it close to 60 inches, I think that we said on this one was like 80 stitches. And it's a real big, it's so nice. And it is that true shrug hug, arms wrap up, and big, big, big. So cozy.
Yes.
This one, we altered slightly. We cast it on, but then didn't decrease, just went down to a 17 needle. About halfway through, you can see how much longer it is this way. We started out with the 19 and 10 less stitches cast on. And I think around here we switched to the 17, which makes this a little bit tighter, a little bit warmer and cozier, but it's a more structured shrug hug. And you can see at the top a lot more of the reverse knitting. Mm-hmm. So it gives you more of a collar look. And that's that's a nice one too. Fits more like a poncho than a shrug hug, which they're the same, but it's just a little more closed up.
Be creative, Yeah.
No
That's
rules.
the best part. There's no rules.
No rules.
There's you can't make a mistake.
But you have a guaranteed end result of something creative. The one I'm wearing, I actually did the reverse knitting and then went back the other way again just to prevent it from rolling in too much. So you could see that. I just did maybe 3 rows back the other way again and loosely bound off. So that is our debut of our Shrug Hug yarns. And we're really excited to have our own yarn label, if you want to call it. This is what we're hoping. Maybe we'll get into a couple of yarn shops and do a trunk show and be able to talk to knitters not only about our yarns, but about the charity week.
And get back out to festivals as soon as we can open that up. Again, it depends on the pandemic and how it progresses. But again, this pattern is what we've done with these kits. But you could do anything that requires this amount of yarn. So anything on Ravelry that uses this amount of yarn, you could use these yarns for. But this was just something that's simple. And again, I know I mentioned this in a different podcast, but when I went to Rhinebeck the last couple of times, I said to myself, I'm not buying yarn unless I have some idea of what I'm going to do with it. So having a pattern that you could fall back on is something easy that's guaranteed to work, makes me spend my money with a good conscience.
Yeah, I mean, you buy it, and if you don't see anything else on Ravelry, you have your guarantee.
Fine.
And we've actually done sweaters on. We have talked about this, but the US 19 knitting needles. You could get a crop sweater out of our great big, or out of our huge hug cakes. Stephen B had that great.
Yes.
poncho.
It was we showed that in one of our episodes.
Yeah, that's in a prior episode.
And
but-
Mare had changed it and added the split neck.
yeah, he's real good with big needles.
Yeah.
And Gigi likes size 19
Yep.
needles. So, it's a good fast project. Even our size 10
And
goes
you can
fast.
make it one of our regular shrug patterns with the rectangular as
Oh,
well.
absolutely. And that's one of the reasons, too, we made it like 60 inches. It's kind of the same
Yeah.
dimensions as our shrugs, but you're just knitting flat instead of in a
Yes,
circle.
and if you're going to knit it, then you're purling back, or we like to do them in Tunisian, which then again, you're never turning your work with the Tunisian. But this is enough yarn for all of those.
Yep. So we sell, how do
many
we fund,
patterns.
and how do we fund our mission? Through sales of yarn. We say fiber fundraising. Our Shrug Club yarns are for the charity knitting. They're affordable enough to be donated. And once you donate one to us, the cakes are $25. And if you ship us a shrug, any shrug, it could be big box yarn, as long as it meets our specifications, which everything's on the website, which is hugsthroughshrugs.org. As long as it's it's a cozy, like cozy fabric. Kath, we have this shrug here.
Yes.
If you're watching for the first time and you're unsure what a shrug is, they get sent to the hospital's package the way we showed you before.
This is essentially, it's a rectangle, right? This one is Tunisian.
This is a Tunisian one.
Okay.
And they are,
And then they get folded in
oh yeah,
and
how we
seamed for the arm.
It's basically a blanket that you fold the corners in, and we lace them closed.
You put your arms in here.
No, even the ones that don't go to the moms in the hospital, we started lacing them closed when we started shipping to hospitals, because it gave the moms receiving these the option of wearing it as a shrug or unlacing it and using it as a small throw.
Right.
Well, if we're shipping directly to the homes of moms, they might not need to use it as a throw, but we continue to lace the sleeves together because the laces represent like weaving together, and we're weaving together or lacing together, tying together a community that is specifically focused on moms whose children are very sick or sometimes whose children have passed away. So it's still tying together our community. So we will continue to do the laces whether these go to hospitals or not. So that's what a shrug is. Basically a blanket, tied
Sweater.
the seams closed, a blanket sweater, right? And we like the dimensions to be at least like 28 by 55,
Right.
28 by 58. The Tunisian ones have very little give to them, so definitely like a 57 width. You want it to fit like a shawl.
Right.
So and we don't know the sizes of the moms.
Right.
So we like to go for, cozy enough to wrap
Something
up
to
in.
wrap up, something that will cover them a little bit and, combat that air conditioning in the hospitals.
And if you have to focus on, width or length, focus on the width. Apply your yardage to the width, because even if it's only 26 inches long this way, it's still enough to keep the mom's back cozy like a shawl, but with the sleeves so it stays on. But the width,
cozy up.
you want them to wrap up.
Right.
Like our shrug hugs.
Yes.
Wrapping up. So everything's hopefully cohesive. So that's what a shrug is.
Yeah, and all of the instructions on what we're looking for as far as a donation, it's on the website.
Yeah, and
How
prior
to lace the arms closed, everything's on
Yeah,
there.
and what did you say? This is our fourth episode,
Fourth episode.
which is still hard to get rolling, like we said before, but it's all right. We're actually kind of enjoying this.
Yes. Once it gets started, after the first 2 minutes.
But we do. We look forward to this because we look forward to the possibility of more people watching
Yes.
and joining us. We're
And
getting more
knowing
and more
that,
excited.
we're here that you can reach a mom that in your family, a friend, whatever, that you can help someone, even if, we send them to the hospital or to any hospital. We'll send a shrug to any hospital in any state.
Any mom.
Any mom.
Home address. I mean,
Yeah, right.
The home addresses are the best for us because it cuts down the amount of handling.
Right.
It goes from us to UPS, to the hospital mailroom, to maybe people who bring the mail up, to the donations girl, to Child Life. I mean, it could really go through a lot of hands, and you never know how long a mom is going to be in a hospital. And like we said earlier, we do ship still to Ronald McDonald houses, but typically
It's to an
individual requests. We just shipped one.
You know, if you're thinking of giving a gift to a mom, you know, to somebody at the hospital, you know, instead of sending flowers, which, you know, they don't last, and, you know, the chocolates get eaten and things like that, this is something that she'll keep forever.
Yeah. And it's just comforting. Especially now during the pandemic, or people just who live far away, you can't give them a hug. Just
Right.
a hug. You know, sometimes there are no words and there's no advice, and
Right.
just to give someone a hug. And
it also comes with all the prayers that everyone's saying while they're creating the shrug for the mom, you know, because we all do that. We constantly are having the mothers in our minds while we're making that. That's all I think about when I'm crocheting.
Yeah. So there's our shrug.
Yes.
And
our new way of funding our mission.
yeah, so much fun. And gets us, like Kath said, this is our December episode.
Yeah. Episode 4.
So much got clarified for us in 2020.
Changes. Lots of changes.
2021, it's just building on what we started now. Everything really fell into place. But the one thing that we are going to try to consistently do is show you a bargain bag at the end of each.
Yes.
We're going to be adding more. We got really sidetracked with this, that we have not added new ones.
Okay, so this is bargain bag number 38, and it is Debbie Bliss. It's 100% wool. So let me show you this thing.
Debbie Bliss, what is it, the kind, Kath?
It's Aran tweed, and it does have cute little different colors in there. I
There's
don't know
like
if you
that
can see them.
Donegal.
Yeah, it's like the Donegal tweed. It has all those cute little neps in them.
And these are all the same dye lot. A couple of the labels have fallen off, but they are you could weigh them. It's all correct yardage.
Yes, and they are 50-gram balls, 100% wool.
And what's the recommended needle, Kath? Can the yardage, can you read those?
Yes, it's a size 8 needle or a 5 millimeter. And they don't tell you the yardage, they just give you the grams. So it's 50 grams. Yeah, I was looking for the yards before.
Well, this is a big bag, and
Huge.
it's $50. On our website, we have bargain bags that are $50, and this happens to be all the same color. But sometimes we are creative with how we piece the colors together based on our leftover yarn shop inventory. And we promise, once we get this retreat out of the way, which is Saturday, we can go back and add more bargain bags.
Yes.
We have a lot more to add.
Yeah, $50 a bag. I mean, it's a really great deal. So, you know, take a look at that. And our new yarns will also be on there.
So much fun. This
So
was
we're
really
very
exciting
excited.
for us. And 1,000 moms
Big.
have been touched by the charity work that so many people are helping us
Yes, thanks
accomplish.
to the knitters, our crocheting community.
So that's it. So I guess the next time we upload an episode will be 2021.
Yes, next year.
So, all right, 2021, here we come.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching this
Yep.
episode.
Keep knitting,
And
keep crocheting,
yep,
and we'll see you next month.
bye.
Bye.